back to another video. And in this video, we're going to talk about one of the many phones, many products that we're going to review in this time of the year
So
because
many
there's so
phones.
much coming and we're really excited.
Many phones.
But it's the Google Pixel 10's turn, a phone that was announced a little less than a month ago. And we've had a little bit of time to test this alongside its brothers and sisters in the lineup. And this one is very special because it is the entry-level phone for their lineup that is very solid, in my opinion.
Yep.
So I cannot wait to talk about it to show you what we think.
Yeah, $799 starting price point. You get quite a bit for Google's entry level
Right.
flagship phone.
And it's
I actually
blue.
really like it. Indigo blue,
Very nice.
fantastic color.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic color. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So the Pixel 10 is interesting. I think we're now at a point where the Pixel 10 is a smartphone that's essentially saying Google has reached a very refined point with their smartphones.
I agree.
Because if you were to take the Pixel 10 on paper and put it right next to the Pixel 9 on paper, there's not a whole lot different from a hardware perspective. The Pixel 10, of course, when you hold it in hand, it feels really good. It just feels like, I don't want to bring Apple into the conversation by saying it's like an S-year line
Right.
for the Pixels.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
But think about it this way. It's like, I think they're taking the approach of, if it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah.
And we see that with this phone.
Yeah. I think Google has finally found a very, very mature and refined spot for their smartphones. And the Pixel 10 series is exactly that. So Google has put a ton of focus in trying to improve the software experience with Android 16 and building in some cool new AI features that, in practice,
they look great on demos.
Yeah. Yeah. In practice, you might not get the most use out of them, but the Pixel 10 is still a really, really solid smartphone. If you're hoping for something that's going to absolutely wow you from a hardware perspective, this is not the phone. And I don't think the Pixels have ever really been that phone.
And even then, you're looking at the base model, the entry level of the Pixels. So even if within the Pixel spectrum, this is not the phone for sure. Because there's other ones that are way more promising and deliver a lot more that are on the higher end of the production. But it doesn't make this phone not good. And I think that's what we want to clarify, just because it is a very solid phone. But if you're expecting a huge jump from last year, that's not the case this time.
Yeah, I think it's very much a testament to Google just refining their hardware, at least. And now we're getting to a point where, at least for what we're seeing with the 10, it just seems like year over year, Google is just focusing on small little tweaks from a hardware perspective to really refine the package that they're delivering. And maybe, I don't know, every other year or every 2 to 3 years is when we might see like a potential major reinvention of the Pixel line.
Right. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Now, when we say earlier that the phone is very similar to last year's, that's because if you look at it from the outside, the design is practically the same. You're looking at the design from the Pixel 9 that is very good, but it's also on the Pixel 10. It just barely changed.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart.
You know that one meme from The Office that it's like corporate wants you to find the difference between this picture and this picture?
They're the same picture?
They're the same picture. This is no different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good design, don't get me wrong. It's the aluminum enclosure with the back of the glass on the design with the G in the middle, the visor on the camera. And now, if anything, with outside of the new colors, the only thing that makes you say this is a different phone is two things. The camera. There is a third lens that it took a second for me to notice, just because when you look at it from the outside, like you kind of have a little bit of distance, it kind of blends in because it's all very dark. You can't see the third lens unless you get close.
Yep.
At least for me. But the display also got an improvement. We're looking at the same quality, the same resolution as last year's, but now it's a little bit brighter, with going from 1800 nits of brightness to 2000 and 27 max brightness to 3000. So it is a very welcomed upgrade.
Yeah.
Very, very good. A very good design. Like we said earlier, if it's not broken, why fix it? And if anything, I wonder how long they're going to ride this design on the Pixel lineup, just because they've been doing it for a couple of years.
Yeah, they've had that signature glass with the visor look for some time, but they keep just like refining the visor. Remember when the visor used to span all the way around to the enclosure?
Oh my gosh, I do.
On like the
This is
7s
very
and the
clean
8s.
though.
Yeah, I
So
think
clean.
Oh,
Apple
no.
might have borrowed. or been inspired by the design on their new
They
iPhones.
just might have been
Just maybe.
on the Air and the 17
And the
Pro.
Pro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who
No.
knows?
No, I definitely agree. The Pixel's design is iconic. It looks really good, and I think it is something that appeals to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those phones that it just looks. I don't want to say unassuming, but it's just one of those where it doesn't really rock the boat. You know what I mean? It's just a really good looking smartphone
Well, yeah,
design.
it's solid and it's stable. I
Yeah,
think it's been consistent because it works.
yeah,
And unless they find something, some new formula that kind of rechanges the design and the look of their signature phones
yeah.
and also looks good, then until then, I don't think they're gonna change it.
Yeah, a brighter display is welcome, which means you're going to be able to use this display even outdoors in direct sunlight,
Right.
and you're going to be just fine. The quality is actually really, really sharp.
Yeah, so it's not a need for a big jump, but you still have 120 hertz refresh rate.
Yeah, although
So
it's not the LTPO, so it's 60 to 120, but it's still
right, it's
great.
still very good.
Still great for an entry level flagship. And sticking with the tune of refinement,
Right.
larger battery.
Yes, true.
So last year's Pixel 9 was somewhere around that like 4700
Yeah.
milliamp hour range. This one is in like the high 4900s, just shy of the industry standard of 5000.
5,000.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
is a standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the big addition this year, so obviously bigger battery is always welcome.
Mm-hmm.
The big addition this year is Pixel Snap.
Dude,
Pixel Snap.
one, I wasn't expecting that. And two, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Like it's so good.
Yeah, Pixel Snap is really, really great. So if you're unfamiliar with what Pixel Snap is, like I don't want to make it this rudimentary, but it's essentially MagSafe for Pixel
It is
phones.
MagSafe. It
Yeah.
is Google's version of MagSafe.
Yeah, and it's based off like the Qi 2 charging standard,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the Pixel lineup, any of the Pixel 10s you get, including the foldable,
Mm-hmm.
I might add,
That's
has
crazy.
Pixel Snap, which means it will work with if you happen to have any MagSafe accessories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you would if you're kind of in the Android base camp, but if you happen to have any MagSafe accessories, it'll work. I tested it out on a MagSafe charging puck that I have at home, and it works just fine. It can support up to 15-watt charging speeds
Right.
using those accessories. And of course, Google has already dropped their own like host of Pixel Snap accessories.
But you know what's really cool? It's not even the fact that it works if you happen to have MagSafe accessories. It's not only the fact that it works with them, but it's the fact that now you have so many options that have been in the market for years.
Yes.
So you don't have to stick exclusively to Google's products where you might find a MagSafe from Anchor
Yeah.
or from Belkin
Yeah.
that looks better, that works better, that is cheaper than the ones that they offer. And you can just get that and it'll work perfectly
Exactly.
fine.
Yeah, he's right. So like MagSafe battery pack chargers, they will now work on a Pixel device. They're not necessarily exclusive to iPhones. And the cool part is that it is a universal like charging standard.
Right.
Qi 2, right? It's like a universal charging standard. So now that Google has done this, I'm kind of surprised they did it. I would have expected Samsung to do it first,
Yeah.
but I'm kind of surprised Google did it. But now that Google has done it, I feel like a lot of other smartphone manufacturers, like on the Android side, are
gonna
probably
follow
going to
suit.
start following
Yeah.
suit
Yeah.
and throwing. I don't know if they're all going to have their own brand name for it or if they're just going to call
That'd be
it
funny.
like Qi 2 charging.
And it's like MagSafe.
Yeah,
But it's
in a
just
few
different name.
years, you heard it here first in 2025. In a few years, we're going to have 6,000 different iterations of magnetic charging.
Maybe 5,500.
Yeah, on the back of smartphones. It's going to happen. But for now, it's here on the Pixels, every single one. It's called Pixel Snap, and it's great. I'm
works.
actually really happy to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, one more thing that did get an improvement, and if anything, that would have been crazy if it didn't, is the processing chip. Because now you have the Google Tensor G5,
Mhm.
which is, fun fact, now made by the same company that makes chips for Apple, TSMC.
Yep.
Where before, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Exynos, which is the
Yes.
same company as Samsung's company that
Yeah.
makes chips for their in-house processors.
Yep.
So of course you're gonna get bigger improvements. Of course you're gonna get faster reading speeds and writing speeds for things that you do on your phone. But this change is mainly focused on AI. And AI is a spotlight of this phone because all the features that they talked about, well, not all of them, but a lot of the features that they talked about were centered on Gemini and the things you can do inside of your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot.
A lot.
A few of them are almost like exclusively driven by Tensor G5.
Mhm.
But like a lot of the Magic Q features. So like Google spent a lot of time at their keynote talking about Magic Q. It is available on these phones once you get them right out of the box. Magic Q is essentially supposed to, well, one, if
Read all your data.
yeah. I was just about to say,
Putting it out
if you
there.
care about privacy, Magic Q takes away all sense of privacy. In case you're wondering, but I feel like everyone's already kind of known that about Google. Their whole business model is selling your data.
Right, that is true.
Yeah. So
And
now they're just
if you didn't know that, sorry to break it to you.
yeah. Now they're just harvesting all your data on your smartphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the idea of making your life easier, though.
Yeah.
So
Now
you kind of take the trade off.
you can get reminders.
Yeah. So it's and like I said, in like the demos are cool, but in like your day to day, it's a little tougher. So here's an example. You book a flight. You get the flight confirmation in your Gmail,
Right.
right? The phone can read your Gmail. Now, let's say you want to make a modification or you want to call and ask about your flight. So you
Right.
decide to call the airline. Magic Q can then pop up whenever you're literally in the phone application and you're calling.
Yeah.
Magic Q can then pop up your flight information
Right.
right there.
Yeah.
So you don't have to put the phone on speaker, go digging into your email to get your flight information and give it to the person that you're talking to if you wanted to ask a question or make a modification. Or because it can also read your text messages,
Right.
privacy is completely out the window. But
Watch out.
let's say a friend texts you and asks you about, I don't know, like a restaurant that another one of your friends mentioned that you guys all wanted to go to,
Mm-hmm.
but they can't remember the name. Magic You can supposedly be like, this is the name of the restaurant that was mentioned.
That's a little scary, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, it's like, it's cool in demos, but like the practicality of it. And from what I've seen with other people, the overall execution is relatively hit or miss.
well, it's gonna have to learn. It's gonna have to go through a lot of
Yeah.
learning curves of
Yeah.
getting data
Yeah.
and people giving it feedback. So
And that's
you
a
can
good point.
train the model.
What Google has said is that the more data that's available to it, the better.
Of course, duh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, they're gonna say that.
Yeah.
No, I think there are gonna be people that benefit from a feature like this. I think there's a very small pool of people that they do everything. They organize everything in their calendar. They add tasks like to-do lists. They put everything on reminders. And if you are one of those people that have all those apps and they use it to the max, they unlock the full potential of those practical and productive tasks. Then yeah, I think AI and Gemini are going to be able to help you because then you don't have to go digging, you don't have to think, you don't have to even remember something.
Yeah.
It can just tell you everything you need depending on what you're doing in that moment.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, I really actually do like Google's approach to this kind of stuff.
Right.
Like, I feel like any OEM like this that tries to take the approach of trying to make your life easier with a smartphone is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like there's more of a holistic approach to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with the at a glance, like there's the at a glance widget on the default Pixel launcher that tries to give you helpful information throughout the day.
Mhm.
If you have any upcoming calendar events, it shows it right on your home screen or
Mhm.
even on your always on display if that's on. If you have devices connected, it shows it. Like the Pixel tries to give you information before you think you even need it.
Tell me that's not scary. Go ahead and say that. Now, of course,
Tell me it's also not pretty cool.
yeah,
if it works.
it's a balance of advancement of technology with the sacrifice of your information. That's a conversation for a different day, but that's exactly what we're doing here. So
Yeah, yeah. And Google has also made other improvements to other aspects of the phone too, like a refined photo editor.
right.
Right. And there was a feature that we had that is now gone. It was like the magic editing tool.
And just like a magic trick, it
It's
disappeared.
yeah, it was magically just poof, it was gone. It in and of itself is now missing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
another episode of The
You know
Office. Do you remember that?
exactly what happened.
Do you remember that episode of The Office where Michael's like, the lost and found has gone missing. It in and of itself is lost.
There's probably an office reference for every single review we do.
There is.
Be careful.
But the cool part about like it's not here, and we had to do some digging and some research to actually find out. It turns out that we're not the only Pixel users to actually experience this, but so we don't have any way to capture it on B-roll footage for you, unfortunately. But it was really cool. You could essentially open up a photo, you can hit the edit button, and at the bottom there was a text field for you to essentially work with Gemini
Right.
to edit the photo, and all you had to do was like tell it what you wanted. Like
Yeah.
if you wanted it to remove the people in the background, you would just type remove the people in the background and it would do it.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah, or if you wanted it to make even some more complex edits, like if you wanted to add something to the scene that didn't exist, it could try to do that. If you wanted it to change colors of certain things in the scene or even subjects, it could do that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it depends on exactly what you want to do and the subject, the lighting, the composition of the picture. Some things that you can do are really good and realistic, but of course, there's going to be things that just look fake and they look AI generated or they just don't match the rest of the picture.
Yeah.
But just like any other AI feature, it'll get better over time. So
Yeah.
once this feature comes back, and great, we'll put it to the test and see if it is better than when we tried it before. But for now, poof.
But Google is trying to be really helpful in almost every single category, and it shows. Because I mean, now you can even open up the camera app, and there's something called Camera Coach.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it'll essentially, if you point and shoot the camera at a subject or a scene, you can press a button, and Camera Coach pops up, and it'll give you kind of an analysis of the subject or scene, and it'll tell you how you can improve certain types of shots using AI.
So
Cool for me, because like I don't, you know what I mean? That's not really my thing. I'm like a point and shoot.
But that's what I was gonna say. It's like for point and shoot people, you point and shoot, and you take 2 to 3 seconds doing that.
Yeah.
If you go through the camera coach, I mean, we tested it. It's taking you step by step.
Step by step.
Move the camera, zoom in, crop, rotate,
Yeah.
angle, change your brightness.
Yeah.
Take away the subject.
Yeah.
I'm like, at that point, you're 10 minutes in, and you haven't even taken the picture.
Yeah. Yeah. I would highly recommend you use it in situations where like you're not trying to capture something in the moment. You know what I mean? Because if you try to capture something in the moment is going to be.
So look at
long
this car
gone.
crash and you're driving.
Yeah.
Please don't open up the camera coach. Please do not do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but that combined with other features that have previously existed, like call screening and
Right.
stuff like that, or like now on hold where it waits for you, like it tells
It
you when to
does
come back from
help
hold. There's
overall.
so many features that I feel like Google tries to pull you in from a software perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like they're going to continue to improve on those over time, especially the newer ones that they release. They definitely still feel like a work in progress.
Right.
But if Google can nail those things, this is a very, very, for lack of a better term, smart smartphone.
Yeah.
Which I
Now-
think makes sense given that it's not a performance powerhouse whatsoever.
It really isn't. And if anything, we talked about earlier how there's also an improvement on having a bigger or another camera lens. When it comes to the camera system, I'm a little torn just because there is a new lens. And we talked about how there's a camera coach and there's AI features to edit pictures. And that is their focus when it comes to using a phone like this to take good pictures.
Yep.
Because the system itself, the hardware of the phone, didn't change, or let me rephrase, it did change, but not in the way you expect from last year's model.
Yeah, in some senses, it went down.
It did.
Yeah, so 48 megapixel wide
Right. And
compared to last year's Pixel 9 that had 50.
we're looking at, well, now you have a telephoto that's a 5x optical zoom, but you're also going from a 48 megapixel ultra wide to now 10.8.
13.
13.
Yeah, 13. The
13
10.8 is the telephoto.
is the telephoto.
Yeah, yeah.
So 13 megapixels, which it's cropping it. You're losing quality on the ultra wide, you're losing quality on the wide, and now you have a telephoto, which is great, but even then it's not that high of a quality. You're looking at less than 11 megapixels on that lens. I
The photos are good.
yeah, the photos are going to be good, but
Yeah.
I'm in this line of, do I like the change because now you have an extra lens on an entry level smartphone for their lineup, or do I not like the change because they did sacrifice a little bit of quality
That's a good question.
for the lenses that were there already?
That's a good question.
um,
Would you rather have high caliber, like high megapixel count, wide and ultra wide,
right,
with no telephoto,
right.
or they sacrificed some of the megapixel
It's
count
quality over quantity.
for adding,
That's what it is.
for adding
And
telephoto?
if you want to like to have more lenses to more options, then this is going to be a good jump for you. This is going to be a good refresh on the entry level smartphone for Google. But if you like to have less but higher quality, then this won't sacrifice a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Now the pictures are great, like we said. They are going to be solid. It's Google ultimately, and if anything, with the AI features, you can make your pictures from good to better, from good to gooder. And
Google's
you
image
won't be-
processing has always been really
yeah,
good.
and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
but it just feels weird going from one generation to another and not feel like you're going up, and in a way feel like either you're going sideways or going down in some areas.
Yeah.
So it is interesting, but the camera system is there and it's great.
Yeah, and I think what's also really interesting, like I'm glad you brought up the cameras, is that I feel like for the longest time, pixels were like,
Bro, they were kings.
yeah, pixels like I think it was like the Pixel like 3, 4, and 5, where it was just like
6, 7.
you
I'm sorry, I had to.
Yeah. where it was just like you waited for the Pixel to come out because
Because
you
you
knew
knew.
the
Yeah.
camera was gonna be like the big thing.
That is
You
true.
know what I mean?
That is true.
And now it's just kind of like I don't want to say that Pixels have like fallen behind, but Pixels are definitely now just like there with the pros of the iPhones.
It's like,
And especially like you can get some fantastic photos out of like the Ultra lineup from Samsung.
right. I
You know
think
what I
it's
mean?
kind of like a triangle of the Samsung best camera system with the iPhone's best camera system and the Pixel's best camera system, and they're all great in a very specific scenario, whether it's photo or video, in
Yeah.
very specific circumstances. Some things the Samsung phone is going to do better, some things the iPhone's going to do better, and some things the Pixel's going to do better. So it's not like one of them is going to be better overall, but they're all equally good in different areas, to the point that the points they gain make up for the ones that they lose against the other categories.
Yeah, yeah, but I
So,
just feel like it's been interesting to see Google kind of just keep heavily leaning into their image processing
right.
more so than just like leading that smartphone camera category like they used to.
Yeah. So it's, let us know what you think on the cameras, by the way.
That is the Google Pixel 10.
Yep. The 10th generation, 10th anniversary.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know, I really like it. I understand like you take one step forward and two steps back with the camera system,
Right.
but every other aspect of it is a new at least feature and development, like all the software stuff. You get the
Right.
hardware improvements like Tensor G5 and the brighter screen. So
MagSafe. I'm going to keep
yes,
calling it MagSafe.
Pixel Snap,
Yeah.
Pixel Snap MagSafe, whatever you want to call it. I really like this phone. And I
Yeah.
mean at the starting price point, $799, 128 gigs of storage. Yeah, we all know how I feel about 128. I'm not a fan of that storage option.
Hey, what do you prefer, to have 128 or to have 256, but it starts at $899,
I'd probably take the 256.
and just be forced to pay a little bit more? Yeah. There's a certain company.
I
that
just
did
I
that.
don't know, like yeah,
Yeah.
there's a certain company that did that, but it's just I don't know. Like for the majority of people, I feel like, especially if I don't know, but Google offers so many different services where you back up all your stuff, like your photos and stuff. So you could probably get away with 128. I'm just not a fan.
No,
just-
and it's, I think at that point you're pushing it. I think it's very risky.
Yeah, especially if you want to keep the phone. Like for
Oh, yeah.
like you're not
100%.
doing what we're doing where you're buying every single phone that comes out or like getting access to every single phone that comes out, right?
Right.
Like you want to get this phone. Google promises like 7 years of software updates or something like that. Like you want to get this phone for the future, make the $100 investment in the higher storage option and just give yourself that peace of mind.
That's facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The colors are dope though. So blue indigo, which is what we have for the review, I think that looks great. I think the second best color would be lemongrass, which is like
Right.
a bright green. They have frost and they have obsidian. That's essentially black and white.
Black and white.
And like we said, 128, 799, 256, 899. Personally, I would opt for 256, especially if you're going to keep this phone for 4 to 5 years.
Right.
I would definitely opt for 256. But I am thoroughly impressed by the starting package that Google has.
I think it puts this phone in a much better position when you're factoring in the features that the Pro has that this
Exactly.
phone doesn't have.
Exactly. To which the pros are coming, the Pro Fold is coming, review wise. The 10 makes a compelling argument as to whether or not the prices
Right.
and the
Justifiable.
features
Yeah.
for the Pro line are justifiable, which
Right.
is what we're going to tackle in our reviews for the Pros.
So stay tuned.
Not
Let
to
us
mention
know.
everything that Apple just dropped.
There's a lot. So stay tuned. Let us know what you think of this product. If you have the Pixel 10, let us know what you think. Let
Yeah.
us know. Let us know if you have the new magic features with AI on your Photos app, because maybe
Yeah.
you still have them and they haven't been taken away.
Yeah.
But please subscribe if you haven't.
Yeah, if you're excited for any of the upcoming Pixel content, any of the upcoming Apple content, make sure you get subscribed so you're notified whenever we drop those reviews because they are all coming.
Stay tuned.
Thanks for watching, and
Till
we'll
the
catch you in
next
the next one. Bros in an alternate universe. Oh, you were recording that?